Good morning, Asaba. This is the Daily Brief on Bigheart 92.1 FM, the station that beats for you. I am Marvellous Akpenyi, and I'm your host for today on the Daily Brief. And for the next 25 minutes, we're doing what we do best, breaking down the front pages so that you don't have to read them. Not all of them. You can still read the papers, but I'm here to help you break them down. And it's Wednesday, July 15, 2026. And the weather seems cool today. Yes, very fantastic weather. And we have a lot to gist about because, as usual, we have so much going on in our nation today. So, stay with me. Let's get into the papers. So this morning, as usual, there are stories that are dominating the papers today. Number one, we have that fuel jumps by 100 naira per litre as Dangote shifts $1.84 billion foreign exchange burden to marketers. And you're going to find that on The Guardian, which leads with that headline. And then we have the police arrest controversial PFIPC DG Prince Adeyemi in an Osun hideout after 1 week manhunt. You have that on The Punch, Vanguard, Daily Trust, Guardian. All papers have it. And number three, there's been tears and joy in Oyo as abducted pupils and teachers reunite with their parents. And also the State Police Bill drama and the INEC 2027 updates, the Naira and foreign exchange wahala. Everything is here, so we'll take them one by one. Don't go anywhere this morning, as we'll be beginning with the first paper for review today. We have the Vanguard newspaper leading with the headline PFIPC police nab DG Adeyemi in Osun village hideout. And yes, you can find that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And then also further details on that says, as court orders his arrest for failing to appear, fixes September 20 for arraignment. And there's a photo of him sitting down. If you were on the internet yesterday, you probably must have seen. You probably must have seen the videos of him being interviewed where he was asked his name several times, like over and over again. And then he kept repeating, you already know my name. I told you my name already. Why do you keep asking me? Really interesting. And we also have on the Vanguard newspaper why Nigeria's database still fragmented despite NIMC's claims. Why Nigeria's database still fragmented despite NIMC's claims. That's on page 10 of Vanguard newspaper. And still on Vanguard, we have ADC insists appeal court verdict has no effect on presidential tickets. ADC insists appeal court verdict has no effect on presidential tickets. And you can find that on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. Still on Vanguard, why Tinubu didn't call Makinde over Orire rescue. Why Tinubu didn't call Makinde over Orire rescue. And that's coming from the SGF. The Secretary of the Government is explaining why Tinubu did not call Makinde. And then still on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have Tinubu transmits State Police Constitution Amendment Bill to reps. Tinubu transmits State Police Constitution Amendment Bill to reps. You can find that one on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. And then still on the Vanguard, we have right here, INEC chair seeks more funding for elections. That's interesting. INEC chair seeks more funding for elections, and you can find that on page 10 of Vanguard. Xenophobia, South African returnees recount ordeals. Xenophobia, South African returnees recount ordeals as 315 Nigerians returned today in final evacuation. That's on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. And still on the Vanguard, we have Oyedele pushes for result-driven reforms, stronger regional tax cooperation. Oyedele pushes for results-driven reforms and stronger regional tax cooperation. Okay, and we have all that on the Vanguard newspaper. To read up more, go ahead and grab a copy of the Vanguard. All right, now let's move on to the Guardian newspaper this morning, leading with a story that fuel jumps by 100 naira per litre as Dangote shifts 1.84 billion naira foreign exchange burden to marketers. Fuel jumps by 100 naira per litre as Dangote shifts $1.84 billion foreign exchange burden to marketers. And then further details on that says naira may weaken as marketers stress test foreign exchange liquidity. Naira may weaken as marketers stress test foreign exchange liquidity. And then $85 per barrel spike worsens consumer plight. $85 per barrel spike worsens consumer plight. And you can also find a photo of a barrel of oil with $85 per barrel written on the picture of the barrel of oil. Away from that one, we have United Nations scales down humanitarian intervention, hands over to institutions. United Nations scales down humanitarian intervention, hands over to institutions. That's on page 29 of The Guardian. Weather forecast predicts daily rain for the next 10 days. Weather forecast predicts daily rain for the next 10 days. Well, it's a forecast, but we also have to be careful on our part. Do not drive if it's raining heavily. And then even when it's raining, not raining heavily, you go on the road and you cannot see the road. I would advise that you park somewhere and wait for the rain, or you can return back if time permits you. Just stay back wherever you are. Do not drive in water that you see people in there and it's almost getting up to their knee. That's going to be well, that could be bad for you. Let's try as much as possible to stay safe in these times. Okay, that's on page 2 of the Guardian newspaper. We have APC NWC overrules Alia Ayedatiwa on candidates list. APC NWC overrules Alia Ayedatiwa on candidates list. That's on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper. Battle for regulation may cripple power reforms, NERC warns. Battle for regulation may cripple power reforms, NERC warns. That's on page 7 of the Guardian. Orire kidnapping, Senate, lawyers, CSOs divided over Makinde's push for UN probe. Senate, lawyers, CSOs divided over Makinde's push for UN probe. And that's on the Guardian. We have PFIPC calls grow for Senate, Gbajabiamila probe as police arrest Adeyemi. And that's on page 3 of the Guardian. PFIPC calls grow for Senate, Gbajabiamila probe as police arrest Adeyemi. All right, reps query OAGF over deductions from MDA's statutory funds. Reps query OAGF over deductions from MDA statutory funds. That's the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. And we have Akpabio Abbas defend decision to prioritize Tinubu's state police bill. Akpabio Abbas defend decision to prioritize Tinubu's state police bill. moving on now to the Daily Trust newspaper, where we have Phantom Counsel, DG detained, Gbajabiamila listed as witness. Phantom Counsel, DG detained, Gbajabiamila listed as witness. And that's on pages 4 and 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And then also we have on the Daily Trust, rescued Oyo pupils teachers reunite with families. Rescued Oyo, yes, on that one we have rescued Oyo pupils teachers reunite with families. That's on page 8 of the Daily Trust. Parents demand justice over alleged assault of 5-year-old daughter. Parents demand justice over alleged assault of 5-year-old daughter. 3 parties failed to submit presidential candidates as INEC shuts portal. 3 parties failed to submit presidential candidates as INEC shuts portal. That's on page 13 of the Daily Trust. And still on the Daily Trust, we have federal government expands intervention powers in state police bill. Federal government expands intervention powers in state police bill. That's on page 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. And over now to the Punch, where we have fake agency scandal, how IGP's special forces arrested controversial DG in Osun hideouts. How IGP's special forces arrested controversial DG in Osun hideouts. That's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Inside the 1-week manhunt that led to Adeyemi's arrest. Abuja High Court postpones arraignment until September 30. Abuja High Court postpones arraignment until September 30. NBA others push for evidence-driven investigations. NBA others push for evidence-driven investigations. That's also on the Punch newspaper. You can find that on page 2. That's the story on the fake agency scandal, how IGP's special forces arrested controversial DG in Osun hideout. On the Punch, still we have 2027 race. INEC recognizes Atiku and 470 ADC candidates. 2027 race. INEC recognizes Atiku and 470 ADC candidates. Still on, federal government ends UN-led humanitarian coordination. Federal government ends UN-led humanitarian coordination, and that's on page 7. Reps dump own state police bill, adopt Tinubu's version. Reps dump own state police bill, adopt Tinubu's version, and that's on page 9 of the Punch. Oyo abduction, Senate SGF faults Makinde's UN probe demand. Oyo abduction, Senate SGF faults Makinde's UN probe demand, and that's on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. Still on, we have tears, joy as abducted Oyo pupils reunite with parents. That's on page 7. Tears, joy as abducted Oyo pupils reunite with parents. FAA ends ride booking app triggers airport taxi row. Fans, ride booking app triggers airport taxi row. That's on page 30. Manhunt begins for killers of Lagos NURTW leader. Manhunt begins for killers of Lagos Nigerian Union of Road Transport Workers leader. You can find that on page 4 of the Punch. Federal government grants Shell $11.5 per barrel tax credit to unlock $20 billion investments. Federal government grants Shell $11.5 per barrel tax credit to unlock $20 billion investment. Well, that's all we have from the Punch newspaper. Alright, from all the stories that we have taken on the various papers, we're just going to take a look at some of the stories. Some of the stories that dominated the papers this morning. Okay, so from what we've had today, we can see starting here that yes, the one that hits your pocket. Let's start with that one, and it says here, the Guardian, that fuel jumps by 100 naira per liter as Dangote shifts $1.84 billion foreign exchange burden to marketers. Okay, and according to the report, with crude oil now at $85 per barrel and naira under pressure, marketers are saying the foreign exchange stress will push price up, and they're also warning that this could worsen consumer plight. And now for us in Asaba, for us in Delta, what does this mean for us as Nigerians? Transport fare, food prices, our generators, everything that follows fuel. Well, the paper also notes that analysts fear the naira may weaken further as marketers struggle with foreign exchange. And also, quick take, this is not official NNPC price yet, but it's it's the warning from marketers, and we'll see how it unfolds. Right now, how much fuel are you buying in your area? So by the time, if anything happens and then it goes up again, how much then would we end up spending on just fuel alone? The cost of living daily in Nigeria is just increasing, and then it's worrisome. And sometimes even when you decide to sleep peacefully, the next day you can get a report that everything has changed, everything has skyrocketed. It's beautiful times that we live in, if I must say that. All right, now let's talk about the big story every paper is carrying. On the Punch, you have how IGP Special Forces arrested controversial DG in Osun hideout. From the Vanguard, we had PFIPC police snap DG Adeyemi in Osun village hideout. And then on the Daily Trust, we also had Phantom Council DG detained. On Guardian, we have cause for Senate Gbajabiamila probe as police arrest Adeyemi. So here's the gist. The Director General of the purported Presidential Foreign Investment Promotion Council, PFIPC, Prince Adeyemi was arrested Tuesday in Matami area of Osun State after failing to appear in court. And the Federal High Court in Abuja had issued a bench warrant, and charges border on forgery, fraud, and impersonation. Arraignment is now fixed for September 30. All right, and then also we had other reports on Guardian about Akpabio and Abbas defending the decision to prioritize Tinubu's state police bill, and Vanguard on its part reports that Tinubu has transmitted the state police constitution amendment bill to reps, but Punch says reps dumped their own state police bill to adopt Tinubu's version. So that's it on that one. All right, for now, that's all we'll be taking on the Daily Brief this morning. I hope you had a beautiful time on the show. We've talked about a lot, from the newly released Oyo abducted students from the pictures, you can see them reuniting with their families. It's been filled with tears, joy, uncertainty. There's been calls for more arrest, there's been calls for prosecution, and all of that. And then also how we can get our state, our schools, our country in general to be safer and more secure for the living. Okay, that's all we can take on the Daily Brief this morning. I am Marvellous Akpenyi. Thank you for starting your day with Bigheart 92.1 FM, the only station that beats for you. Stay safe, and if it rains, drive carefully. Up next is a musical session as usual, and it's here to sweeten your morning. So don't touch that dial. I'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. sharp. For now, it's goodbye.